Hey everyone, finish watching the next episode of Beetleborgs, The Brain in the Attic. At Zoom Comics, Nana was rehearsing a hip-hop performance with Erin, whose drumming doesn't impress her. She's irritated because the kids were supposed to join her for rehearsing for a charity concert performance, but they're not here. At Hillhurst, the kids and monsters are fooling around when they hear something in the attic. The Magnivores are up there, and they plant a spy device, the brain of a monster from one of the comics. Flabber leads the kids and monsters up to the attic to investigate. Drew finds the spy device. Mums knows what it is for some reason. As a mummy, I guess maybe he has experience seeing organs stored outside his body? Meanwhile, Vexor yells at the Magnivores because the brain was taken from a back issue. The comics continuum, or continuity canon,
Now he's affecting canon!
whatever, has been disturbed. The results could be unpredictable. Back with the kids, Roland remembers where the brain came from, a monster called Dicehead. His head can fall off and he can lose his brain. They wonder where Dicehead is, if his brain is here. Wolfie grabs the brain and it glows. Suddenly, the room is filled with giant fleas. When he drops it, the fleas disappear. The kids talk over what Dicehead's powers were. He had telekinesis and could use his brain to transmit images to other monsters. Jo guesses the Magnivores are using the brain to spy on them and tries to crush it with her super strength. When she touches it, though, it once again glows and a new entity appears. Her Auntie May. She insists on a kiss, but disappears when Jo tosses the brain. Fangula catches the brain, and this time it summons his ex-wife. He throws the brain to the kids, and they hot potato it so no one holds it for too long. Mums steps forward and proclaims he's not afraid of anything. He takes the brain and conjures up a giant pair of scissors. Flabber tries to help the kids, but the other monsters kick the kids out to deal with the brain themselves. The Magnivores bring Dicehead out of the comics and tell him to retrieve his brain. The kids hot potato the brain to each other, and at one point, Drew holds it too long and creates a giant broccoli monster. The kids run to Zoom Comics and attempt to keep the brain hidden from Nano. She knows something's up and watches the kids. She sees them hide the brain in a drawer, and then they leave. Nano comes over and touches the brain, summoning a trio of ninja assassins. She starts to fight them off, but they disappear as soon as she drops the brain. Just then, Dicehead comes in. The kids follow and snatch the brain away from him. They run away, but eventually they drop it and he plugs it back into his head. His casual surfer bro voice then becomes a growly villain voice.
But I just thought of something I need to take care of.
The annihilation of the Beetleborgs!
The kids transform and try to fight him, but he just throws them around with his telekinesis. They try to shoot him, but he turns the lasers on them. He binds them in chains, but they manage to break free. Drew receives a scrambled message from Dicehead's brain. If the camera in Dicehead's brain gets confused, he won't know what to do. The Beetleborgs run circles around Dicehead. He can't focus, and the kids take the opportunity to attack. They damage his brain and send him back into the comics. Later that night, the kids join Nano and Erin in her hip-hop performance for a charity event. This is a fun episode, and Dicehead has a fun personality when he's brainless. Nano and Erin get some goofy sitcom stuff to do, and it's fine. It's definitely a 90s bit. The Hillhurst monsters get a lot to do, at least in the first half. Oddly, not even Flabber comes back later in the episode. The Magnivores also don't summon the jet fighters this time. All the stuff with the brain, creating worst fears, is fun. I kinda wish there was a little more of that. Flabber, Frankenbeans, and Ghoulam don't ever even touch the brain. Of the kids, Roland never touches it. The fears are all interesting and chances to learn a bit about everyone. Wolfie is afraid of fleas. Makes sense. Jo doesn't like her aunt's sloppy kisses. Understandable for a kid. Fangula isn't a fan of his ex-wife. Logical, she's his ex for a reason. Mums is afraid of giant scissors, an understandable fear for a mummy. Drew is afraid of giant broccoli. Maybe he saw that Powerpuff Girls episode and it freaked him out. Nano's fear is my favorite, ninja assassins. I'd have liked if they actually had more of a fight scene. Dicehead starts out as a pretty silly and incompetent monster, but becomes imposing with his brain plugged in. Beetleborgs plays fast and loose when it comes to the Beetleborgs' abilities, so Drew receiving a message that reveals Dicehead's weakness isn't too far out. It is unusual, though, that they established Dicehead is from a back issue the kids are familiar with.
Lifts his head, and the whole brain comes out.
Everybody knows that.
If that's the case, shouldn't they have known how to defeat him from the start? Of course, Beetleborgs' focus is on comedy, so they get some leeway when it comes to internal logic. Another strong outing for the Beetleborgs. We're nearly at the halfway point for Season 1, and hopefully the quality continues. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
Beetle bonkers, 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 beetle bonkers.